The United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, is deeply concerned about the health and well-being of 10.4 million children projected to suffer from acute malnutrition this year in the Democratic Republic of Congo, northeast Nigeria, the Central Sahel, South Sudan, and Yemen. These are all countries experiencing dire humanitarian crisis while also grappling with intensifying food insecurity on the continent. In northeast Nigeria, more than 800,000 children are expected to suffer from acute malnutrition in 2021, including nearly 300,000 with severe acute malnutrition who are at imminent risk of death. UNICEF is urging humanitarian actors on the ground and the international community to urgently expand access to and support for nutrition, health and water and sanitation services for children and families. So joining me now via Skype from Bonny Island, Port Harcourt, is gender advocate and social commentator Tessie Biobaku. Tessie, good morning. It's good to have you join me this morning, and let me say Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too. Thanks for having me on board.
Great. Now, you have seen the projection of and the concern by UNICEF talking about 10.4 million children on the African continent. And then if we narrow it down to Nigeria, we have about 800,000 people displaced in the northeast and about 300,000 of children could suffer death due to malnutrition. This is really disturbing, but I wonder what you see when it comes to the strategies the government is trying to put in place. I wonder what hopes are there from your assessment.
It saddens me that malnutrition is an issue that needs a lot of concern. But in terms of awareness, in terms of people being well informed about this, unfortunately, it's been a minimal awareness. And, looking at the situation of what is going on right now in the country, especially in Nigeria, northeast, besides for these three key states in the north, you're talking about Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe. They've been the one that has been, hit most. It's a great concern, and it's something that I feel the government should try and take measures to put in place to take care of this issue. The country, Nigeria, is one that we know we are blessed. It saddens me that at this stage in our life, we're talking about people being malnourished and all that. But, we look at underlying factors. Underlying factors such as poverty, low income. You're looking at inadequate production of food, inadequate preservation techniques of preservation of food. You're talking about, especially in the northeast, in regards to education, people being well informed and all that. Those things are lacking. If we don't take care of these underlying factors, then it's going to be an issue for us to tackle this problem.
All right. The UNICEF estimated that about 21,439 babies were born on the first day of January 2021. And that gives us a sense of the increase in population that is rising at the rate of approximately average 3% annually when it comes to Nigeria. Now, if we see from the window of population increase, where we have more mouths to feed every single day, new babies being born, do you think that the population challenge could put a pressure on what the government can do for these children?
Of course, definitely to put a pressure on what the government can do to these children. Then the more reason we need to take care of a lot of things. For now, with regards to the insurgents that have been going on, especially in the north, you find out that accessibility, even in terms of helping out, is very impaired. In terms of even security, people that might want to go there to be of help might be a bit hindered. Then another thing, in terms of even partnership with the civil society, it's a key thing to say, okay, we are giving funds to help. But the thing is, are these funds being championed in the right way? Because if we need to help and we can't have the in terms of integrity, to say, okay, we're going to champion this thing in the right way to ensure that this issue is tackled, then it's also a problem. But with the increase in population, of course, there's going to be a lot of pressure. And that's why we need people to be well informed in terms of knowing that, you need to, it comes with even medical talking about, the way people have children. Nobody's saying you don't have a lot of children, but have it, let it be that it's within your income. And some of these things we need to get people well informed. And it will go a long way in helping this. Malnutrition, unfortunately, is actually part of the underlying factor, 1/3 of the underlying factor of child mortality. And with the present situation going on now, we're talking about 1 out of 5 children being malnourished, and there's the possibility of them dying. It's definitely a very sad situation, and the government really need to address this situation as soon as possible. You know how it is, a healthy country, a healthy nation is definitely a productive one. And when it is a productive one, then, definitely a lot of things will be we are more optimistic of a better livelihood and all that.
All right. Now, we still have the pandemic with us right now, and that is what all governments across the world are trying to grapple with. And how do you think COVID-19 is going to complicate the nutritional challenge that we have in the Northeast?
Of course, COVID-19 will definitely complicate that. Not just complicate, it expose a lot of things that we take for granted. As things as simple as sanitation. Before now, we take it for granted about probably maybe when you go out, coming in, you want to wash your hands, you want to take care of things. But right now, you're caught up with understanding that mere washing of your hands, goes a long way in safeguarding you. Now, the thing is, for a lot of these children, a lot of the mothers in the north, a lot of them sadly are not so well informed in terms of education. So these things are taken for granted. We have a lot of vegetables, fruits in the north and all that, a lot of food items. But if these things are not properly preserved, then, there's no way it could be of help. And then it should still come back to what is really going on right now in the country in terms of security.
Okay.
If you look at the farmers that were killed December, you have people that's their source of livelihood. And if that is taken from them, how do they survive? Then for the people that are caught up with the fear of these insurgents, and then because of that, they are being displaced, definitely they will be caught up with maybe hiding somewhere and all that, and then accessibility to food becomes a problem. So with the COVID-19 situation, it also becomes, with the lockdown, you have lockdown here and all that, it becomes a bit of a problem for them to get accessibility to proper nutrients, to proper medical care, which needs to be addressed.
All right. Now, I guess you will not be advocating for another lockdown from what you're saying. But taking it into what needs to be done, what kind of collaborations are you looking at for this issue to be tackled?
Well, collaboration with, like I earlier said, with the civil society, international community. I'm so glad that to an extent UNICEF is on ground. United Nations is in alignment with this. And of course, we need the commitment of our country, Nigeria. We need the leaders to know that this is a problem that needs to be taken care of. It's a shame and it's disheartening that in a country as such as ours that has natural resources, good grounds and all that, that these things are happening. For a country where the security, I'll keep going back to security, because having those farmers killed last year and the justification that makes me look as if, it's okay it saddens the fact that it makes people to be deterred to say, okay, if this has happened and adequate measures to say, okay, it's not going to happen again, are not in place. It becomes a scary situation for people that are farmers to even go to farm and all that. So we need to see how collectively, as one, to see how these things can be tackled, because it is important.
All right. Now, when we have a national issue of this kind, there's usually much emphasis on what the federal government needs to do or what the federal government is not doing, as the case may be. But if we narrow it down to the grassroots, where the government is closer to the people, let's say state government and local government, what would you be advocating for those governments closer to the children that we are talking about at this time? Okay, so
we're not looking at community leaders. We're looking at NGOs, and but they need sponsorship. They need to be educated. You need to have trainings on how to handle things. When it comes to community leaders and the community itself, we need to look at leaders that can set example to be there to guide them. Like during this COVID-19. I mean, we've seen people go into communities to inform them, to guide them, because, with the COVID-19 situation, it's not about, I'm just taking care of myself. It's about making sure that you're looking out for the other person to also take care of themselves. Because at the end of it all, we need each other to stay alive. If you're able to get people well informed and know that, look, you need to take these precautions. It goes a long way in helping others, because definitely there's a possibility of you mixing with these people one way or the other. So if we get people to be, in line with knowing that, look, we need to get this thing done, we need to get people educated, we need them to be well informed, we need to let them understand the devastating effects of what malnutrition is all about. Then another thing, some community where they can even get free access to medical care and all that, might not be well informed that, okay, it's free. They might feel, they need to pay, and because of that, it might discourage them to be there. Actually, we need to get the women well informed, because, women, children, they are, you can't separate that fact. So more women to be well informed, to understand the negative, devastating effects of this issue. And I tell you, it will go a long way in taking care of, to an extent, to reduce malnutrition, especially in the northeast of Nigeria.
Okay. You talked about collaboration earlier on. You mentioned the issue of international NGOs and even local NGOs and what the governments can do and so on. Now, in the past, there has been some level of collaborations where governments and international agencies, even individuals, churches, mosques, gave donations to IDPs. And we saw in instances from the reports we got where bags of rice and bags of food items were hoarded until some of them got spoiled. We even saw during the pandemic sometime last year where palliatives were hoarded in some areas and all of that. So the collaborations are going on, but along the line, sometimes we hear reports of things going wrong. What concerns do you have from the window of corruption within the system?
I don't know. It's sad that we need to deal with issues such as this. The question is even that leaders that, feel the need to say they want to lead, they should be able to know why they are even there to lead. Because if you are a leader and you're not a selfless leader, you're a leader that feels the need is for you to get there and just, satisfy your own self and feel that the people that you're leading do not deserve better, is very sad. That even palliatives such as small as Indomie can even be ordered from people. It's It's sad, but we need to change the narrative. We need to have that mentorship. And that's why you see, when we talk about poverty, it's sometimes we need to redefine it. You might say poverty as in probably you feel, okay, let me rephrase that. When you weaponize poverty as a way of controlling people, as a way of making sure that by the time you give them the little peanuts, it will make you feel like you are relevant, you're important. It's a mindset that we need to change. I mean, when we talk about poverty, and then we have palliatives, we have things that we're giving to people for their survival during a situation that they couldn't help, and then it's been kept there without anything. Some have already expired and all that. It's a sad thing. At the end of it all, it's not just about having partnership with the international community and all that. It's about knowing that we need to deal with issues, about us, about the fact that are we selfless enough as leaders?
All right.
To be there for the people that we are leading.
All right.
It goes a long way, and this issue really needs to have enough awareness that people need to understand that if we have a country where we are selfless, where we are there to, help as leaders, to be there, to have that one-on-one empathy, compassion
all right.
for the people we are leading,
Tessie,
to make a country that is worth living.
Okay. Tessie, thank you so much. I'm afraid we have to leave it here now. Tessie Biobaku is joining us from Bonny Island in River State. Thank you so much for lending your voice on this, and thanks for your insight as well. We look forward to a hopeful and a happier 2021 as a way of rescuing these children, and what government is going to do, and all the agencies as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on board.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.